Hi, my name's Matt Locke, and this is the Everyday Athlete Podcast, the podcast for the everyday athletes around the world who refuse to be average and who want to create a legacy of health, fitness, and achievement in every aspect of their life. I'm glad you're here, and once again, it's time to forge your future. Nathan, welcome to the podcast. It's great to have you here.
Thank you. Great to be here.
And for those who are not familiar with you, Nathan Hart, or your brand Unbroken, the apparel partner of the Bay Games, which is something we're very, very proud of, and we're going to dive into that as well. Maybe for the listeners who are not familiar with you, if you could just tell us a little bit about who you are and where you're from.
Sure. My name's Nathan, last name Hart. I grew up in Wagga Wagga, Australia. I started Unbroken there, actually. Moved to London in 2015. I have been a branding designer, creative director, brand specialist, really, for nearly 12 years now. And my inspiration for behind the brand was basically from my past and from the way I live life and from things that happened to me and stuff.
Sure. And when did you found Unbroken?
It was initially founded in 2014 with a friend, Aaron, and we were later joined by another friend called Steve. It's actually kind of a funny story, really. I had already been a designer at that stage for a number of years, and I was quite proficient in Photoshop. And I was messing around one day, photoshopping Aaron's nickname onto the back of random shirts that I found, and sending them to him, telling him like I found it for sale, and kind of watching him kind of lose his mind. So that was actually the beginnings of what started the brand. Because I mean, shortly after that, after people caught on to the ruse I think I got a little bit crazy, and I think I put his mobile number on the back of the shirt or something like that. I just started getting crazier and crazier until the point where I think people were like, okay, what's he doing here? But the owner of the gym that we were attending at the time, he actually asked us if we could put together some custom branded apparel for him. We were pretty excited about it. Like we didn't really see it coming, but we loved the offer. Obviously being a designer and stuff, and especially a branding designer and stuff, I jumped at the opportunity, and I worked really, really hard on the range actually. And it actually ended up being an amazing set of kit, and it sold really fast. And so from that, and I guess just from the quality and because people wanted to wear it and whatnot, word of mouth actually spread. And before we knew it, we had quite a number of custom orders under our belt from surrounding gyms. And so we thought, well, we better give this little project a name or turn it into a brand. And I mean, the name Unbroken stood out to both Aaron and I. Like a bit of my past is that I'd struggled with and suppressed really anxiety and depression my whole life. And Aaron had quite a difficult past as well. So when he proposed the name, it was like energizing just how much of a perfect fit it was. And I guess from the start, the concept was always that we would spread Unbroken as a mentality first and a brand second. I mean, these were just the heydays, the early days. We really didn't know what we were doing, but what I didn't realize at the time was that was the very easiest part of my story. My story got quite difficult after that, but that was its beginnings, which is
I appreciate it. So when you say that all your life you'd struggled with anxiety and depression, did you feel at that point that Unbroken meant that you had found a way to manage that and considered yourself, previously broken and now unbroken? Was that the point, or is that too simplistic?
Well, actually, at the time, I didn't have a good relationship with my anxiety and depression at all. I just suppressed it, ignored it, thought it wasn't there. In fact, one of the common things that people do with anxiety is they kind of make themselves louder as a means to almost prove to themselves and prove to others, I'm not suffering from this kind of thing. And I was definitely that type of person, just loud and boisterous. And realistically, without divulging too much into the gritty details of
Sure.
what I went through, I entered into what would be the hardest chapter of my life when I did move to London with my wife at the time. Things just immediately grew difficult between us, and we divorced later that year for reasons that were just entirely out of my control, with complications that I just couldn't understand and certainly couldn't change. And I guess it's just a part of like where I was at the moment to protect my ex-wife. And because there were so many complications around the divorce, I chose not to tell anyone in my life that it happened. Not my friends, not my family. I didn't even tell my mum. And for a long time that continued. I guess at the time I didn't, I know this now, but I didn't realize at the time that I was putting anything and everyone before myself. I guess that I just felt that was right, possibly a byproduct of my anxiety and depression, which is obviously unhealthy. But by not looking after my mental health, I spun myself down in anxiety and depression fueled spiral, in which I declined to a place that I really just didn't want to be alive anymore. And that was rock bottom for me. I was making horrible life choices that were detrimental to both my physical and mental health. I was neglecting myself, every part of my being, really. Mm-hmm. I was hating myself. One day I was reminiscing on better times. I couldn't get Unbroken out of my head. I did nothing about it at the time, but the moment sticks out to me just because it reminded me of how happy it made me to create something that people loved and that spread such positivity. It felt almost healing for me to help others. And I guess feeling that from the brand really pointed out how much of a dark situation I was in and how I wasn't helping myself out of it.
But at least you had that as a release, and I guess it makes sense given your creative background. That it was a release.
Yeah, well, that's true. I mean, at the time, I wasn't active with Unbroken, right. So it was just something that was to me, it was in my past. Maybe I felt that perhaps I wasn't good enough to keep doing it. Perhaps I thought that the moment was lost, but I guess a defining situation for me that inspired me to change my situation was thinking to myself while I was in such a dark place that if it was a friend or a family member of mine that was going through the same thing, I would probably give them the harsh but kind truth that they need to look after themselves, and not just that, but putting yourself forward putting yourself first from time to time, specifically in situations like the one I was in. At that moment, that was such a defining moment for me, because at that moment I reached out to family and friends. I got myself a support network, saw a therapist, told my closest friends about my darkest thoughts, and really began my rejuvenation process. And to me, naming the brand Unbroken in the first place, it all holds a significant importance. But following this, in my overcoming period, which is what I call it, that's really where Unbroken means a lot to me, because I learned things, and I gathered an ethos that would then drive everything in my life from then on. And it took over 4 years, but time had passed, and I was at a stage where I'm now looking after myself. I'm back in the gym. I'd spoken to numerous therapists. I was understanding my anxiety and depression for the first time, and I had just changed my relationship with it dramatically. All in all, I was genuinely having moments where I actually liked who I was, which for me was huge. And I started to mentally reward myself, which was big for my healing. So at this time, it dawned on me that I'd come so far, and I felt like I'd learned so much that I could use the brand as a platform to encourage others to put themselves forward, not just people who are broken, because that is my past, but it's not everyone's past. Mm-hmm. And so the messaging wasn't that, you are broken, put yourself forward, actually put yourself first. It doesn't matter who you are. You could be absolutely killing life. It's about putting yourself forward still, because you're never at a stage where you should stop putting yourself forward. you should never stop chasing yourself. So like I said, whether you're killing life or life's killing you, you should be placing one foot in front of the other, and dedicating yourself to chasing your passion, because there's just such an invigoration in this self-progression that like feels amazing. And really, I don't know, I'm not saying bad things don't happen to you, or you don't feel depressed, or you don't feel anxious from time to time, but it's just invigorating. Your focus is on it. Like your focus is on your forward progression. By mid 2019, I was the most stable and strongest I've ever been in my life. I had a great understanding of my anxiety and was progressing my personal life every single day. Like I said, I liked who I was, and I was making healthy decisions when it came to my mental and physical health. So it was at that time that I decided to inspire the Unbroken mentality again through the brand.
Yep. Well, you're certainly doing that. And, as you and I have talked many times now, but I know that Unbroken, the brand, and you, at the end of the day, I mean, you have a passion for self-care. You use that term already.
Yeah.
Promoting mental and physical fitness as a means to the pursuit of personal greatness, in fact, is what it says on your website. And I love that. And the reason I love it, to some people, it could sound like hyperbole, but it's not. If they speak to you, or if they believe what they're reading, it's you staying true to the brand, which is at the end of the day, an extension of the way you not only live life yourself, but promote to others that they do the same, which is perfect.
Well, I mean, at the moment, I can tell my story at the moment, but it took a long time to get to this stage. I didn't know how much I wanted to tell and stuff. But the reason I tell my story, and why I'm so okay to tell my story these days, even with the dark parts included in it, the reason I'm so okay to tell that story is because everything I've learned from there, I've applied to this brand. I didn't just read some books, not that reading books is bad or anything like that, but I didn't come across this message without it having such an impact on my life. Like it literally changed my life and potentially saved me. Well, not potentially, it definitely saved me. And so, like, I mean, I fired the brand back up early to mid 2019. So we haven't actually been going again for that long. But this time we used a similar underlying message, but with a few more layers and definitely more purpose. At this stage, Aaron and I had set on different courses in life. So I spoke with him and we agreed that I'd do it alone from there. So it's at this stage, it's just me. Sorry, at the early to mid 2019 stage, it's just me. And I really did take those life lessons that I learned and applied them to the ethos, to the mission, to the underlying values, and basically everything we do as a brand. We don't do anything without like kind of consulting with that lesson and what message we're putting out there. And it's to this day that we are supported, and we support like mental health advocates. We aim to inspire people to chase their own self-progression in everything we do. We encourage people to perceive their own greatness, like in their passion and persistence, rather than defining themselves by hardships they've been through. And to really see success in the small steps, and to foster positive habits that like promote physical well-being. Because I mean, at the end of the day, regardless of your goal, it's the pursuit that defines accomplishment. And the most important thing, I guess it's just the most important message, and it just means so much to me, is just keep it going. Don't stop. You might go backwards a day. You might not feel like you really progressed. You might feel like a day was difficult. And like I said, this isn't just talking about people who are unbroken. You might just feel like you're comfortable in your job or whatever. Things are going great. You're in a great daily routine. But I mean, my point is, what's next for you? How can you keep working on yourself? You never get to a stage where you stop. Keep it pushing, keep it going.
That's such a strong message. I'm interested for those who are listening to this or watching this, who, maybe having a challenging time themselves right now. We spoke just before we started recording about the 30 amazing things that have happened today and the one shitty thing that's happened today. And of
Yeah.
course, naturally, we kind of zero in on the one shitty thing. And if we allow it to, it can consume us. Given where you are now, what have, and it's not so much giving advice because it's all such a personal thing, and everyone's situation is different. But how do you, on a daily basis, if you feel yourself becoming anxious or concerned about something, or digging into that the 1 out of 30 that's not great things about the day, what's your coping mechanism around that to change the paradigm or to change your own state, to not allow yourself to go down the dark path?
Simple. I'm so glad you asked, because this is the single biggest thing that I've ever learned in my life. And I've mentioned it a couple of times, and that is changing your relationship with your anxiety, or with your depression, or with your positivity. And what I mean by changing your relationship is everyone suffers from anxiety, right? It's a human emotion. We're gonna feel it from time to time. Often it feels so heightened to us because of a traumatic experience, because you get it a lot more than people. You might even have to take some medication. I know a lot of people with anxiety, their serotonin levels just completely deplete. That's me, to a point where they just really can't cope anymore. And so there's a lot of these factors, but there's infinite apps. No, not infinite apps. There's a few really good apps like Headspace out there.
Yep.
And they just teach you to change your relationship with it. Anxiety, I feel anxiety every single day of the year, but it's over here, it's doing its thing. I'm over here, I'm doing my thing. And my relationship has changed with it to a point where we can coexist. And I think that is the biggest factor. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a constant battle with it. But what happens once you get into that space, and I would encourage anyone that is suffering from anxiety just to look into it, because I can't stress enough just how good it is to change this relationship and just to be okay with the fact that it's there, because it goes from feeling like this horrible monster that's going to destroy your life to this thing that's there, that you know it's there and it's not important.
Yeah.
I can have anxieties before my biggest brand presentation. I can have anxiety attacks just before I go in, but my relationship with it is at a stage where it just doesn't affect me. I still go in, I still present. It's fine. And I mean, I'm not saying I win every battle. Sometimes I lie awake. Sometimes when excessively big things happen, it's still difficult for me.
But I think that at some level, I think that's true for anyone, whether they suffer with depression or anxiety or not.
Right.
I think most of us, I know I do, I have regular gremlins that can sit on my shoulder whispering into my ear at 3 o'clock in the morning, because there's no distractions, right?
Yeah.
It's, all of the daytime distractions are gone, and therefore whatever concerns or worries we have in life at that moment, they're so easy for them to bubble to the surface, and there's no white noise to get rid of them.
Exactly.
But I can only, by the way, I can only agree. I mean, I'm a regular user of Headspace. For those who are not familiar with it, it's a meditation app, a self-guided meditation app by a guy called Andy Puddicombe, it's just brilliant. And they have a 10 minutes for 10-day free trial. And I would encourage anyone, whether they're suffering with anxiety, depression, or they could be the happiest person on the planet, I can only promote the benefits of meditation. And I've forced myself. I'm back into the routine of trying to 10 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, and I love it, to be honest. I really appreciate it. I don't know why I often fall out of the habit of it.
Yeah. Well, I guess life gets in the way, but I guess we should say, Matt, like, no one's telling us to say this. The reason we're both talking about Headspace right now is because it works. Please do that. Please do that trial, because it was a massive tool for me in my work.
And if you're not sure, if you're listening to this and you're not sure and you think it might be a bit of tree huggy voodoo, go to YouTube, type in Headspace, Andy Puddicombe, TED Talk, and spend 16 or 17 minutes of your life watching a very entertaining presentation by a cool guy who will explain why it works, how it works and why it works.
And I promise you it works. It's just, it's amazing. it really turned everything around for me. And I've recommended it to so many people. And look, it's not even, you don't have to be rock bottom to want to use Headspace, you know.
Not at all.
You can just be struggling with extra stress because I don't know, let's just hypothetically say you've advanced to a stage in your career where stress comes with that, because that's what happens when you advance in your career. It's a great way to slow down and to really be able to manage your stresses and manage what's going on inside of your head.
But it's pretty evolved these days. I mean, if you want to improve your performance,
Yeah.
you can do that through guided
Yeah.
meditation, self-guided meditation. So they've got a range of categories in there,
Yep.
which might just be if you don't sleep particularly well. They have 1 minute sprints, where if you're having a bad moment during the day or not, doesn't matter, you literally 60 seconds, boom, off you go. So I love the variety that's in there. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But no, well, look, I'm pleased that you are, managing it for you. And clearly that's demonstrated from my perspective. I see the passion that you pour into the brand Unbroken. I've been somehow associated with 5 or 6 different organizations that you've done designs for now, and they're all different. They're not cookie cutter, and they're all awesome. You're going to put me out of personal business. I'm going to be buying too many hoodies and t-shirts.
That's a good thing. At least you'll be warm.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But no, I mean, it's evident to me, both talking to you when we first connected, all of the dealings we've had so far in what is still a relatively young relationship, but nonetheless, I feel incredibly confident that this is a long-standing relationship that's going to flourish because of the values around Unbroken and the way you conduct yourselves, and at the end of the day as well, the quality of the garments that you're providing, the quality of the designs that you are putting out there, it's all just top notch. And that's something that we find aspirational at this end. And I know I'm now going to date this podcast by saying a few days ago we released the Unstoppable Bay Games 2020 merchandise, and appreciate that you were as fluid as we are in making the changes around the brand, because we've had to go online because of COVID. Thank you for that. But we've had such great response. So many people piping up going, love the designs. Orders are coming in, and at the end of the day, we appreciate what you're doing for our audience. Appreciate that very much.
Well, I really appreciate the kind words, and from my point of view, I love surrounding myself with people who are just as inspiring or just as passionate as I am. And I mean, that's I should really make a mention here, just because I'm not doing Unbroken alone at the moment. Around about mid 2019, actually, I should tell the story is quite funny of how we met. I was doing my second photo shoot for what I was calling it's the apparel that's up on my range, up on my website now. Dating the podcast again, but
that's all right.
I've been calling it the temporary legacy range, and it's a limited release of gear that was just placeholder while we worked on like our own custom lines. I knew I wanted to take them through quite a few rounds of prototyping, because especially things like leggings and stuff, it's not a one and done thing. And so to any of you female listeners out there, we are absolutely coming with female gear. We do apologize that it's not up on our website at the moment, but we've worked hard on it. Like it's been 12 rounds of leggings just to get them
worth the wait. That's what you say.
We're so happy with them now. So it has been worth the wait. But the range of apparel was also just an easy way for us to know who what we're calling is our day oneers were. Basically anyone who's been with us from the start, and we plan to reward them later on down the track. But annoyingly, before this second shoot, one of my models bails. And in a desperate attempt to fill like the spot, I reach out I have this friend who creates videos, and he created one for a WBFF athlete. And this athlete just had this energy about him, and I just found it really inspiring. And so within less than 24 hours notice, Danny, a guy I'd never met before, turns up to my photo shoot, and he just nails every shot. Like I'm so glad I found him. And shortly after, we kept in touch, and shortly after, he approached me, and he just had this visible passion for building Unbroken and wanting to join and wanting to help and stuff. And honestly, it was that energy that just reminded me of my own, reminded me of people I love doing business with, and it's just that energy. You bounce back and forth off that energy, and it's really invigorating. So he also has an unbroken story of his own, but I'll leave that for him to tell.
Cool.
Yeah, but like together, what we have created is, and I'm really proud to say that it's a real brand with a difference. There's rhyme and reason behind everything that we do, and our gear is just, we're so proud of it.
No, you should be. Your gear is amazing. Yeah. I say that quite legitimately, and I'm wearing some right now.
Yeah.
But I know that we had a lot of feedback. The customized garments worn by previous audience of ours, and they just love it. They often say it's the comfiest, best kit they've ever worn, and they were very excited that you guys are bringing it to the market. And thankfully, you know how to design as well, because the designs are amazing.
Thank you. Well, we've taken the design to the next level, and where our photo shoots are actually going to be full of concept as well. They're looking cool. We're actually in a very exciting space at the moment. We're all ready and raring to shoot our first custom shoot this Sunday night.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. So
I hope I qualify for some insider scoop.
I'll actually send you the mood boards afterwards. I really can't wait for these ones to be released.
Yeah, no, fantastic. That's very exciting. Nathan, I'm conscious of time.
Yes, sure.
Conscious of time. If people want to reach out, which they will and they should, so to reach out both to you personally and to connect with the Unbroken brand, how would they do that? Which are the different platforms?
Our website is unbroken.com.au. We use Instagram and Facebook. We're just at Unbroken there. No, nothing else. Just at the word Unbroken. Worked really hard to get those handles. If anyone wants to reach out to me personally, the brand is available at nathan@unbroken.com.au. And I can just send you an email. Yeah, sure. And the reason I put that out there is because we're always looking to work with people who want to do something in the mental health space. We're always looking for opportunities to push a message forward, push someone's story forward that might inspire someone. And so I'm happy to give out my personal email if it's for those reasons. So,
absolutely, as Ryan Reynolds does. With that's super cool. Even more super cool, he just sold for about 600 million.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, absolutely. But Nathan, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you, and appreciate you sharing your backstory. I know it's not easy. It's not something you have done very often. So I appreciate you doing so here, and appreciate everything you guys are doing. Really.
Of course, thank you, Matt. We appreciate you as well.
And all of the links that you mentioned will be in the show notes.
Sure.
When this podcast goes live, and I can't wait. I hope Sunday night goes well, and looking forward to seeing what the kit looks like.
Sure it will. Yeah, we can't wait to get it into people's hands. We're really excited about this range. I think it's going to be a difference maker.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Great. No worries. Thanks, Matt.
Well, there you have it. Thanks very much for listening. And if you've enjoyed this, please go ahead, hit the subscribe button down below and the little bell icon so you get notified every time we upload a new episode. And if you think that one of your training buddies would also enjoy this, go ahead and share it with them right now. With that said, thank you once again. And as always, be brave, have fun, and lead by example.